And we are back. Welcome, guys. My name is DK, and in this video, I'm going to be breaking down the Game 2 NBA Finals showdown site. We got Dallas and Boston, $250,000 to first. So good size contest there up top. It's your first time watching. I cover content for DFS as well as for player prop content like Prize Picks, Underdog, Parlay Play. They're the sponsor of today's video. If you guys are not on Parlay Play, you can use the link down below for a $100 deposit match bonus. But yeah, how it works is a player prop site. You're building out slips of player props, so they do have alternate lines as well. So I would highly recommend it. Give it a try. If you do click the link and deposit, it does help support the channel. So I'd greatly appreciate that. And yeah, let's just get right into the video. Oh, if you are looking for more content, you can always check out my Patreon link down below. I'm still doing normal content here for NBA, also doing a little bit of a WNBA as well. And we did finally get a new mic. I know the old mic kept cutting out. I don't know what was going on. So we got a new mic. So hopefully this one is better and no cutouts in this video. Okay, so what we can do here, let's take a look at the rotation last game for both these teams, and then we can get into the general breakdown. So if you guys watched my game 1 video, I was very off Gafford and Lively. I thought they were kind of fish food at their respective ownerships. Lively was over 40%. Gafford was around 30%. I thought that Dallas would play more Kleba at the 5 and that Gafford Lively get played off the court. They did. Again, this is a completely different matchup against Boston, right? Boston spreads it out. So it's not a good matchup for traditional centers like Gafford and Lively. Yeah, so Kleba did get extended. He was only DFS sites were projecting him for around 10 minutes. Ended up playing 19 and still only had 2 points and 1 assist and 1 block. Was pretty tilted about that. I took a lot of Kleba props and was punished for absolutely no reason on the season. He averaged 20 points, 20 minutes, 4.5 points, 3.5 rebounds per game. So if we just got to his season averages, he easily cashes both his props. He took his over 2.5 points prop and 1.5 rebounds prop, and neither hit. So I was pretty tilted about that, but did hit Gafford under rebounds and Lively under PRA. So, but yeah, looking at the rotation again, starters got pulled for both teams. Dallas midway through the 4th, Boston a little later. But yeah, Luka, PJ, Kyrie, both all on pace to play around 40 minutes expected. Derrick Jones Jr. was on pace to play 30 plus minutes as well. You did see Tim Hardaway Jr. get dusted off there in the second half when they were playing from behind. It can kind of make sense. He's a shooter. Paul Exum played only in garbage time. And then, yeah, Maxi Kleber played some at the 4 and some at the 5. Probably would have closed that game if it would have stayed competitive. And then Josh Green played a little bit there in the first half and closed in garbage time. Hardy only played in the first quarter and then came in and closed and smashed in garbage time. We kind of talked about that in the game 1 video. How there's 2 guys that are going to be in the regular rotation, but also would close in a blowout. It was Hardy and Peyton Pritchard. Well, Hardy smashed in a blowout. Pritchard did not because he shot 0 of 7. So if you played Peyton Pritchard last slate, you got really unlucky. I feel bad for you. And then, yeah, Lively dealt with some foul trouble, but also was getting cooked out there. So I think this is just a series that Dallas, if they want a chance, they're going to have to kind of limit the minutes on those traditional centers and play Kleba more. And then for Boston, yeah, Porzingis absolutely smashed there off the bench in only 20 minutes. Insane game from him. Normal starters all played big minutes. Again, Pritchard, Hauser played a little bit there in the first half, and then both closed in garbage time. But yeah, pretty standard rotation there for Boston. Okay, so let's start off with the Dallas side. At the top, you got Luka at 13.8. Once again, I think is very safe play at the top. If Dallas is going to have a chance in the series, you're going to need a massive series here from Luka Doncic, where Kyrie Irving more of a contrarian play, still at 9K. My big stands in game 1 where I was on the Kyrie fade and I was on the Lively Gafford fade. That both ended up working out in a big way. However, and I was tilting about this in my Discord, I felt like I hit on almost everything. I was on the Boston onslaught. I played for the Boston to blow out Dallas. I was on the Kyrie fade. I was on the Gafford Lively fade, and I still didn't cash a lineup in tournaments. DFS can also be a cruel game at times. But yeah, Kyrie still in play for sure at 9K. I think more of a tournament play. If you're going to make me pick between the two, I definitely prefer Luka Doncic for more. PJ Washington at 6.2K. I think a pretty safe play. And again, it comes down to, can he hit his open shots? He was 5-11, so he had a decent shooting game for 25 fantasy points. Nothing crazy, but he's going to be out there a ton. So I think he's a solid play there. So you got Lively at 5K, Gafford at 4.6. The prices have come down in them, which make them a little bit more appealing than they were in game one. Like Lively was 5.6K in game one, and Gafford was 5.4. Now, I think of the two traditional centers, Lively has a better chance of seeing more minutes, just a bit of a better defender, and can switch on the screens better than Gafford can. So similar price point. I think if I had to pick between the two, I would lean Lively. Lively did deal with some foul trouble last game, but don't think he would have played much more, just because, again, this series really just fits Kleba better at the 5. But yeah, if you're making me pick between those two traditional centers, I do prefer Lively. Derrick Jones Jr. is 4.8K, played 29 minutes, shot 2 of 9, but still in a competitive game, he should see a standard low 30s minutes, makes him a relatively safe value play. And then the values here, Josh Green 2.8, Hardy 2.4, Kleba 2.2. Once again, I prefer Kleba. Now, we were right on him getting extended, right? Sites were only projecting him for 10 minutes. He played 19, would have played more too if the game did not blow out. So 5 fantasy points, 19 minutes. If you were a Kleba Shark, you were punished for absolutely no reason. You correctly read that he would get extended and were punished. But yeah, I think he's a decent value play. I think he has a chance to play 20 plus minutes and close the 5 as long as his game is competitive. Hardy barely played there in a competitive game, but did smash in a blowout. So 18 fantasy points. I feel like he'll be a bit overowned by the box score watchers, because he had basically all that production there in garbage time. But if you do think this game gets out of hand again, then Hardy is someone you want to consider. And then Josh Green, another guy that actually did close in a blowout too. He played like almost the entire fourth quarter. So that's another thing to note. He isn't guaranteed to close in a blowout, but he did close last time out. So Green and Hardy, two guys that if you think this game gets way out of hand, again, like in game one, that are interesting value plays. Now for Boston, Jason Tatum at the top at 11.8K had a subpar game. He didn't really need to do a ton because it was just a very balanced attack from Boston. Porzingis was smashing, right? You had Jaylen Brown taking over at times. Derek White was getting hot behind the three-point line. So Tatum will be interested to see what the ownership is on him after a subpar game one. I think it will be lower than it should be. And if that's the case, I think he looks pretty good. Jaylen Brown at 9.6K had a really solid game, 40 plus fantasy points now in for the last 5 games. I think he'll be a bit more popular than Tatum. If that's the case, I will lean Tatum in tournaments. And then Porzingis, we'll see if he starts, but he absolutely smashed in 21 minutes. They said he's not on a limit, but they brought him off the bench. If he comes off the bench, I think it's minutes. You're probably going to project him for like mid to high 20s minutes. If he starts, I think he has the opportunity to play 30 plus minutes. So keep a close eye on that with Porzingis. Derek White, 7.2K, played 35 minutes. Would have played more if the game would have stayed competitive. Drew Holiday, 6.6, played 35 minutes. Both solid options. No real strong takes at either of them at their respective price points. Horford started, played more. Played 30 minutes because they kind of took it easy on Porzingis' minutes. If he starts again, then Horford is in play. If they start Porzingis, then I think Horford's more of just a contrarian option. And then last couple guys to mention are Pritchard and Hauser. Again, both played in a competitive game. Both also closed in a blowout. So that is something to note there. Sorry, I got a lot of tabs here. Hauser, Pritchard both played a bit there in the first half and both closed in a blowout. You got Pritchard here at 3.2, shot 0 of 7. But we know that Pritchard, usually a pretty good point per minute player, still in play. And then Hauser did hit a couple shots as well, 2.6K, both fair value plays. I think Hauser will be more popular based on a game one performance. And we've seen so far in the playoffs, recency bias does play a pretty big role in ownership. So usually if someone has a good game in game one, they go, a bit overowned the next game, or, vice versa. If someone has a subpar game in game one, they're a bit underowned in game two. And then, general roster construction. Once again, I like going a bit heavier on Boston. I think it's just a little bit easier to get to, like those Boston mid-range plays. And if you think the game does turn into a blowout again, then there are some interesting value plays like Hardy, Josh Green, on the opposite side, Pritchard, Hauser, that have a chance to play again in a competitive game and also close in a blowout. All right, guys, that's to wrap it up the video. As always, if you do enjoy, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and we'll see you all in the next one.